The agent orchestrates all this interaction between user queries, the knowledge base and LLMs. Now let's double click on knowledge base. Welcome to this tutorial on creating a generative AI assistant for a loyalty reward system using Amazon Bedrock. In this video, we will walk you through setting up AWS resources including S3 for storing FAQs, DynamoDB for user data, and Amazon Bedrock for leveraging powerful LLMs and knowledge bases. We explore the integration of knowledge bases and agents, highlighting the importance of knowledge bases for storing FAQ document and agents for orchestrating interactions. You will learn how to link a knowledge base with an agent, configure action groups for managing loyalty points, and expose your assistant via an API gateway. By the end of this tutorial, you will have a functional AI assistant capable of handling loyalty rewards queries with ease. So let's get started. Let's break down the system architecture and data flow to help you understand overall process. The user interacts with the loyalty reward system through an API gateway. They send queries such as checking their loyalty point balance. The API gateway acts as the entry point for the user request. It receives the input from the user and forwards it to the appropriate Lambda function for processing. The Lambda function is responsible for invoking the Bedrock agent. It takes the user input from API gateway, processes it, and sends it to the Bedrock agent. The Lambda function also handles the response from the agent and return it to the API gateway. Amazon Bedrock uses powerful LLMs to understand and process the user queries. The knowledge base contains FAQs and other relevant information about the loyalty reward programs. It helps LLM provide accurate responses based on pre-stored data in form of S3 document. The agent orchestrates all this interaction between user queries, the knowledge base and LLMs, and it ensures the right data is retrieved and processed to generate a meaningful response. So let's see how data flow will look like. When a user sends a query, say what is my loyalty point balance, it first goes to the API gateway. The API gateway forwards the query to the Lambda function. Lambda function invokes the Bedrock agent with the user input. The Bedrock agent processes the query using foundational model and checks the knowledge base for relevant information. If the query requires user specific data, the Bedrock agent retrieves it from DynamoDB. The Bedrock agent compiles the response and sends it back to the Lambda function. The Lambda function returns the response to the API gateway when they deliver it to the user. So this is how data flow will look like, and we are going to implement it as part of this tutorial. Now let's double click on knowledge base. Knowledge base can be seen as a repository which stores relevant information. In this case, FAQ document in S3 bucket. And vector database stores the vector, like it's called as the embeddings, wherein each piece of text is converted to vector and stored in vector database. Then what Element does is it takes this data and crafts a response that directly addresses your query, making this interaction effective and seamless. These are the few brief steps we are going to see today. Create Bedrock agent, create knowledge base, then associate that knowledge base with the agent, then create an action group which acts as a DynamoDB table, and then create API gateway and backend Lambda. So let's get started with those steps. Go to management console and search for Bedrock. Here I have Bedrock under recently visited, so I'll just click on it, get started. On the left side under builder tool, you can see knowledge bases and agents. So let's go to agent and click on create an agent. So you can keep the name as it is, you can add description. I'll go ahead without adding any descriptions, but that's optional. And even agent name you can give, which makes more sense, but here as it is tutorial, I'm keeping it as is. So you can create new role or use the existing one. So if you do not do anything, it's going to create a role with this name, but I have created during my earlier test, so I'll just use that role name. Then select model. Anthropic is the default, but you can choose Titan as well. So I'll just use Titan. Then agent instructions, I have prepared agents instructions, you can write it directly here, right? So say same thing I'm doing. Okay, so agent instructions is given, and that's it. Let's save the agent, and before you do anything else with the testing, you can prepare it. So you can do test with the prompts. I'm going to just create knowledge bases and attach knowledge base to this agent. Let's create knowledge base now. Under builder tool, click on knowledge base, and you can see create knowledge base option. So knowledge base, again you can keep the same name, add description, or you can keep the name which is relevant to your use case. So I'll keep it as is, no descriptions, and then create and use a new service role, right? So I don't want to use existing role, I will create a new one. Okay, so let's go next. Then source name, again you can change or keep it as is. Then in this case, our knowledge base is pointing to FAQ document. So I have a FAQ document already there in S3 bucket. So I'm going to browse and select the same S3 document. So if you see loyalty program FAQ, so just choose it. And this same document is there in GitHub repository. So I'll give you a link of repository so you can see it yourself. So if I go here, there is a public GitHub repository I created for this, and you can see loyalty program FAQ there. So same document you can access from there and use it for your use case or your tutorial. So go next. I'll choose text embedding model, and these are two options here when it comes to vector database. You can point it to your existing vector database if you already have one, or you can create one in OpenSearch. So when you choose this, which is a recommended option from Amazon, it's create one collection in OpenSearch service, and I'll show you when we have it created. So let me go next. Okay, so everything you can just review it and create knowledge base. Yeah, you can see preparing vector database in Amazon OpenSearch serverless. This process may take several minutes to complete, and it literally takes time. So what I'll do is I'll pause video and come back, then we'll review knowledge base. So knowledge base creation is completed, and we can see knowledge base created and ready. One more very important thing you should do is select knowledge base and sync. So it's syncing. So let's wait for a minute. So this is how like it's updating OpenSearch index or collection, and data source which we added, which is pointing to S3 bucket and FAQ document to be specific, and it's in available state. Okay, and we have chosen embedding model, we have chosen vector database, and the creation will be through OpenSearch serverless. And let me show you that real quick. OpenSearch has created one collection which is Bedrock knowledge base, and that is how knowledge base is going to work. So the RAG component which we looked at before in our architecture, this is how it is getting built in Bedrock. Mind you, this service which is going to cost significantly, so make sure you understand that before you try this tutorial out on your own. So let's go back. So now knowledge base is created. So next is associating this knowledge base to the agent what we created in the first step. So let's go in agent, click on edit in agent builder. This will keep it as is, and here we are going to add knowledge base. Select knowledge base, that's only one knowledge base, and here we can add instructions. Let me see if I have instruction somewhere. So I'll just add this instruction. So this is a sample instructions I am putting, but you can just be more descriptive if you want. Add it. Great. So knowledge base is added now. Let me save changes to this agent. Click on prepare. Okay, let me test this agent now. So I'm giving prompt, do my loyalty points expire. So we expect that this will look into knowledge base now because it has more context in terms of FAQ. So we don't want any generic answer, right? So that's how it is. Yes, points will expire if there is no account activity for 12 months. So this is what coming from FAQ document, and you can trace this, and like you can see it yourself where it is coming from. I'll not spend time to go through all this. You can read it like when you do that one. It is showing you like this is pulling it from loyalty program FAQ. That itself is good. So like this knowledge base attachment to agent is working. So now our prompt went to agent, and agent decided, okay, like this data is there in knowledge base, so let's go to knowledge base and pull that data instead of giving generic answer. So that is good. Next step is we are going to create action group. So let me edit agent builder, Then go to action group. You can add action group. So action group, let's keep it the name what it is. Now let me put description. Oh, this is for alias. So let's go back. Define with function details or define with API schema. So here I'll choose API schema. Even you can attach function here and you can define your API, but this is easy, and I have this in my Git repo, the file for open API specification, so you can check it there, right? Quickly create Lambda or select existing Lambda function. So I'll choose existing Lambda function, which is action group business function. It is part of Git repo as well. When you get access, you will get function code as well. Select an existing API schema. So let me browse it. So I'll go to RewardBot S3 and choose open API specification. So that is like calling out what is the schema, API schema we want to use. You can even define it inline using schema editor. Okay, so with this, I think we are good. So I can quickly go to Lambda function so that we can see how that function looks like. Business function. So let me open it. Yeah, so this function is basically like looking at your response. If you see like there are parameters which coming to this function, which is user ID. And there is a certain format which you can test it out. You can see document how this format will look like for test event, but I'll just show you right away. So this is a format, and what essentially we are passing, right, when agent is invoking action group, that time it is passing this information to that action group, and in turn that is going to Lambda. So Lambda is getting this JSON file or JSON format, and it is passing user ID in API path. So this user ID you have as a parameter, and that you are going to use it to query your DynamoDB and get what is the loyalty point for this particular user. So let me go here, and that is just to test it. But anyway, like that agent, when you are invoking it, it's passing the same test event to this particular Lambda function as part of the action group. We are going to process that event here. So if you see it here, I have user ID. I'm pulling it from event in the form of parameter, and this is just a format. I'll give you code for this. And this is a table, users table, which has data what we are looking for loyalty points, and we are passing user ID and then we are pulling that and then just showing that to user. So this is how this function will look like. Now let's go back here. I'll create action group. So action group is created, and this is all what we just selected, right? So it's still same thing for action group. So I'm going back to agent builder. Yeah, every time, right, I'll prefer just to save, then prepare. Now we have knowledge base attached to agent, we have action group attached to agent. So now let's give prompt again just for testing. First prompt we already tested, like it is pulling it from knowledge base, so that should work. Now let me try this one. This is actually should look into DynamoDB table and pull the data, and it needs user ID as an input. I can help you with that. Can you please provide me with your user ID? So let me give user ID. So this is based on my schema in DynamoDB. So access denied. While invoking Lambda function, this action group business function, check the permissions on Lambda function and retry the request. Somehow the function what we got, at least from this we know that when we given this particular prompt, agent note where to look for, right? It didn't look for knowledge base, now it looked for action group. So agent at least know that it is looking for action group. So some way this is helping us, but Lambda doesn't, we are not invoking able to invoke Lambda function. Let me go to the function, and there is one you need to do. Let me see whether I have done it in configuration permission resource base. So I have done this, I have given this permission. Let me edit it. Okay, so source ARN. So what essentially we are saying is we are giving resource based policy. So we are saying this Lambda function should be invocable from Bedrock, and from Bedrock this particular agent should be able to invoke. So this is the reason. This was the agent like I created before when I was testing it first time, right? And that agent ARN is here. So I'm glad that I didn't do it before, so that you can see the error, right? So this is important step. So now what I'll do is I'll go to the agent and I literally get ARN for that agent. So this is the agent ARN. So everything is same because I am still working on USS1 in same account. So nothing is really going to change. So what I'll do is you can literally copy this complete thing and then put it there. But I know for the fact that this is going to be same. Only thing is changing is agent ID. So let me save this. Great. Let's go back to the agent and like give the same prompt. Let me copy paste. What is my loyalty reward point balance? Okay, so now what we expect is it action group should know, like agent should know that it should invoke action group, and action group based on lambda function and sorry based on the schema knows that it needs user ID, so it's asking us that. So I say like, okay, mine is user 1, and it could be account ID, it could be email ID, whatever, right? It's just for demonstration. So I given user 1 and which is having a data in DynamoDB, and that's it. So like lambda function worked, so only permission which is needed is resource based permission on lambda, and you know how to fix that now. Yeah, so that's how it is. So agent is working. When you are asking something related to knowledge base, it is going to knowledge base and pulling the data. When you are asking something where it needs access to data store, based on the action group, it is going there, and you can add more actions. It has really quite good capabilities, and it becomes so much easy to build this. This is a demo. I'm sure like I need to learn more on this and see how I can combine different data store. Here is single data store I am demonstrating, but I hope like I'm driving my point and this is going to help you. Okay, so up to this we know agent is working. So what about like our architecture, right? What architecture we looked at before? So let me quickly bring that up. Yeah, so agent is working, but we want to build API gateway which is like accepting prompt from user and sending it backend to lambda, and lambda is the one who is invoking agent. So we don't want directly like to test agent on console. We did it already, and this piece is working fine for us. So now let's build this. So I have API gateway, and if you see before that, this is a lambda function what we are going to use. Okay, so if you see the code, right, so it has invoked bedrock agent API, bedrock agent runtime invoke agent, and this is what it is passing. It is passing agent ID, it is passing alias. Alias is just like you can create, like for example, when you create knowledge base and attach it to agent, you can create an alias. So you know like, okay, this agent has knowledge base and we are testing using that alias. Now you have added action group, so you can create alias. So alias is like same like point in time, right? This whatever agent got, now we can create an alias, and it has a knowledge base as well as action group. So this becomes easy when you are testing, and then even for troubleshooting. So let me go to Bedrock and create an alias. Okay, I'll create alias. I'll just name RewardBot. That's it, and description is optional, so I'll just keep it as it is. So create alias. So currently whatever the capabilities we have added to agent, that will be seen when you are pointing to this alias. So this is alias ID. So if you see that invoke agent requires agent ID and alias ID. So let me put alias ID first and then go back to agent and pull agent ID. So these are the only changes you need to do in your code. Like when you get this code from GitHub, you just need to do minor changes like this. Okay, so let me deploy it. And as I said, like API gateway is already created, API is created. So GenAI service, so you can see like I created API resource with get loyalty points, and I have added method. And here like I have given screenshots, so you can do it yourself. Like just follow the document. I'll put the link for the document in description for this video, and even you can find GitHub repository at the end of this document. Okay, so and let me let me just test it first. I will test it from Postman. Let's first grab API from API gateway, go to your stage, which is dev in this case, then find out method get, okay, and copy URL. Go back to the Postman and you can paste the same thing. I can help you with that. Can you please provide me with your user ID? Okay, so I'll just pass prompt. So I'll just reply to this particular query or response, and let's see. Great, so your loyalty point balance is 150. So this is how like we can invoke our APIs, right? And then you can even send prompt. I don't know what happens when you give say user2, because user2 does exist, and I want to see, I would like me to check the loyalty point balance of user with the user ID user2. Yes, please. It doesn't understand what I'm sending in terms of user2. Okay, yes, please. Let me see what happens now. Loyalty point balance for user2 is 200.5. Okay, great. I hope you learned something new from this tutorial. So make sure if you're trying this out, one thing is make sure you let me know how it goes, and second is ensure that you are deleting all the services after you use. I'll go here, I will delete agent. Okay, delete this agent for me. Agent, I'm okay because I just want to delete it. I'm deliberately showing you this because you don't forget. So the agent is being deleted. So now I'll go ahead and delete knowledge base. I don't think it will delete knowledge base. It will just delete agent and that's it. So better we do delete knowledge base separately. Delete knowledge base. Okay, it's deleting it. So even if after you delete knowledge base, let me see if agent is gone, it's still there. Okay, great. So agent is gone, knowledge base is gone. So go to open search, and this is the most important thing because it does not delete like collection by default. Okay, so make sure you select it and delete this collection, otherwise it's keep on incurring charges. Okay, it's deleting it, gone. So okay, so we are good. So we deleted agent, we deleted knowledge base, we deleted open search collection. That should be it. We should be good, nothing else. Like you can keep Lambda there, it's not going to charge anything. API gateway, all this are okay to be there, but mainly agent and its services. DynamoDB, like it's not that costly, so I'll delete it later.